Welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reefs and more. So today we are finally doing it. Let me show you what we're talking about. Do you hear that sound? Do you hear that sound? We're finally putting some water in the frag tank. So yes, this frag tank is ready, or at least I'm thinking that it is. I might find out that it's not. So what we're doing right now is putting some RODI water. I know the tank holds water. That I already know for sure because I tested that, left the water in there for a week and everything was good. So what I'm doing now is filling it up with RODI. If all the plumbing and all that stuff doesn't leak, then I'm gonna just put salt directly in here to mix it. So let me show you exactly what I'm working with so far. Let's start here at the top. This light here I got for $50 used from someone. It is a Nicrew light. There's three different versions. There's one that has only one of those pucks. This one that has two and one that has three. This wasn't really intended to be for this tank, to be honest, but you know, I have it and for now it is. And I'll probably put one Radion on this end and then another Radion on that end. XR15 because that's what I have laying around. And go from there. But I think for now, honestly, I'm not gonna have a lot of frags, so I'll probably just light this one light up and put a frag rack right there in the middle and let that be it for now until I start collecting more frags. That being said, so what we have here, I don't know if you were able to hear all that noise and how loud it was in the background, but I figured it would be bothersome, so I went ahead and paused it for right now. But I wanted to talk about this overflow right here. And so I know I have had some advice to, instead of using the return as a return, to use it as a second siphon and put one of those hanging ones like this as a return because of noise. So of course, you know, I'd like to end up finding out things on my own and finding out that the noise is too unbearable. So I decided to still use it as designed, and hopefully I don't have the same issue. If I do, then it's as easy as taking off that pipe and using it as an emergency drain. That being said, what we have here is a fan unit that I've had for quite some time. I bought it from either Bulk Resupply or saltwateraquarium.com. The intention is, of course, to cool off the water. I'll tell you that this room in the summer especially gets really hot. This ceiling fan right here is what I've normally used to cool off the only tank that was sitting in here for a while, and it worked. And I have a feeling that it will still work, but I wanted to have the ability to control it through an ink bird. And you know, when a temperature gets above a specific temperature, that it turns on versus having that fan on all the time. So that's what's going on up here. And as far as wave pumps, I don't know what I'm going to use. I do know that I have a MP40 that's available and not in use, and I have two of the wave pumps from Neptune that are also not in use, but I think those two wave pumps I'm eventually going to put on a Mega Matrix. I'm still thinking about it because I'm thinking of removing the Nero 5s from the Mega Matrix, maybe putting the Nero 5s in here, and then putting the wave pumps that I still have not used in the Mega Matrix instead, since I know those create a lot more flow than the Nero 5s. All right, let's go down to the bottom. So here's what I have going on right here. You'll notice right there that I have a gate valve, and I'm hoping that's the way to go in order to kind of silence the gurgling if there's any. And then from there it connects there, as you can see, from the white to the black, which is for this reef mat. Now this reef mat, I think it's a little too big, overkill for this tank, but I had it and it was laying around collecting dust, so for now that's what I'm going to use. I did see that Red Sea came out with a small version of the reef mat, and I think that would be perfect for this tank. But another thing I've been actually thinking, and let me know what y'all think, I've been thinking of actually just running it without a reef mat, without a filter sock, without anything, and just let the skimmer do all the work in here, being that it is a smaller tank and the skimmer itself is rated for a bigger tank, and because it was actually for my 150 gallon Peninsula. And so I'm thinking that maybe the skimmer alone will be able to do enough work in here. And if once I collect a lot of detritus, it shouldn't be that hard to come in here and vacuum the detritus up, instead of having this reef mat and having the skimmer as well, because I will be putting the skimmer in here shortly. And so I don't know, what do y'all think? In a way, I'm trying to avoid having to do a lot of maintenance in here, but I also think that it shouldn't be that hard to vacuum all the detritus that will collect here at the bottom, to be honest. So I might end up just going with a skimmer on that end and then letting that hose run down to the sump here, which truly is not a sump, it's a 20-gallon tank, and I didn't put any dividers. I honestly want to keep it as simple as possible. And so my thought here was just to have this reef mat, which would remove all the debris, and then a skimmer that would pick up on whatever the reef mat is not able to pick up, and then the return pump and a heater back there, and keep it that simple. So let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking? What would you do different? Definitely open to hearing y'all's ideas. So what am I using for a return pump? I was using this. It's a Current USA E-Flux pump. I think it's a 900 gallon per hour pump. And to be honest, I was using this when I had the UV sterilizer on the Peninsula tank. And so it's been sitting around and I figured, hey, this is perfect. That way I don't have to buy another one. I had the Maxspect Jump series, which is like a 1200 gallon per hour pump. And it only went down to like 600 or something like that. So I just thought it was too much for this tank, being that it only has one drain and one return. So I figured this would be perfect for such a little tank. There's not much more to say here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna continue letting it fill. I have the sensor over there, which is sort of aligned with the overflow, and then that way it will stop and I can come back in here to check on it and then continue filling it up and letting it fill little by little so that I can monitor the return line. I suspect that this return line is going to leak, and the reason for that is because even though I've screwed that white part from Home Depot as tight as I can and it fits perfectly on the drain line for the reef mat, it just seems to continue to turn, and I don't know how to explain it, but what I'm thinking is that the O-ring that's inside is not fully connected. It didn't touch the other end the way that it's supposed to in order to avoid that leak, and I feel like because of that it may leak. So if that's the case, I might have to go a completely different route on this, and I have not decided what that route is going to be. But first I want to see if it leaks. I'm going to put some towels down here to make sure that if once I start seeing it drip, then I can make sure that I don't have a big leak on the floor. All right, so here we are. Here is the tank. It is full of water now. Of course, from the top it is holding, no issues at all. But like I was thinking exactly that part right there that connects to the reef mat hose is not tight enough, and that it's as tight as it can go, but the O-ring that's inside does not touch the other side, if that makes sense. Therefore, it's leaking very slowly. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't wanna cut this pipe because it's gonna be a waste of however, like 40, 50 bucks that gate valve costs. But I did keep the other end of it where I can then connect a 3/4 or 1 inch pipe, and then I'm gonna cut this part just right there and then insert this hose directly into the 3/4 or 1 inch pipe, and then use one of the metal clamps that I will be able to tighten up around it, and that should work. I've seen others do it, and that should really do the job. But I was hoping that this worked as is so that I wouldn't have to do any of that, but I should have known better. It was not as noisy as I thought it was going to be. I mean, there is a little bit of a trickle. It is definitely louder than the Red Sea that I have right here. But I think what I'm going to be doing is running the pump very low and make sure, because when I did turn the pump up high, it was spraying out really hard right there, and it was causing it to make a lot of noise. That being said, we'll have to come back to this. It's already late at night. I'm gonna go tomorrow to Home Depot so that I can go ahead and buy the parts that I need in order to just do what I said I was gonna do. And hopefully that fixes it, but for now there is a leak, and we'll tend to that tomorrow. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is 2 days after the fact that I found that it was leaking. I decided to instead now cut this part right here, and I decided to add the other end of that and glue a PVC pipe to it. Decided to now insert this black ribbed hose into the PVC pipe, and then use that metal clamp right there to tighten it up, and that has helped with no more leaks from that area. I'm not sure if you're able to hear. There is quite a bit of sound, not a lot of sound, but definitely a lot of bubbling in this area right here. So you'll see the bubbling in that area right there that's coming from the overflow. And so I'm gonna see if eventually I will use this gate valve right here and try to tune it to where it doesn't create that much sound. But aside from that bubbling, the rest of the sound is not loud at all. Let me put the microphone to the tank and see if y'all can hear anything. So that's what I can hear from the bubbling, but once I can get that squared away, then honestly this tank will be pretty silent. Right now it's again only RODI water. I do plan on just adding the salt directly to the tank with an MP40 and just mix it around and get it to the right salinity that way, and then start seeding it with Microbacter 7 and some ammonia. So not the most natural way. I might get some sand from my main tank and put it in here. But again, I'm not in a rush to get this, going really quickly. If anything, I'm taking my time. That being said, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. And on the next one of the future next episodes, I'll definitely bring you along to once it's mixed, once I have everything pretty much going, the lighting. The cable management, of course, because of course this is not going to stay like this, but for right now my main goal is to make sure that it continues to run for a few days without any leaks. Next will be this tank right here, and you might be wondering, what the hell is this? I know if you've been tuning into my previous videos, you know that this is a 40-gallon breeder, and this came with a metal stand. And so what I did here, let me show you. That's the metal stand, and all this is foam board. I got this idea from Jeff, one of the RaySock members from a local club here, except that he has a very thick one, so I'm gonna have to find out where he got it from. He said Michael's, but I couldn't find any of the thick one from Michael, so I got these thin ones, but they do the job. And so what I did here was I put some magnets, I glued some magnets to this, and was able to just pretty much, I'm not going to put it straight yet, but pretty much just use it as, a way to cover up the bottom and kind of blend in with the rest of these tanks in here in this stand that it's white. Excuse the mess, I have a huge mess in here, but eventually I'll clean it up. And then you'll see the frag racks in there. These we'll talk about those in a future video, but those are what will be coming in here eventually for when I start setting up this frag tank. All right. I think that will do it for this video here. I appreciate everyone that has tuned in to watch this video. And for now, I will thanks again for tuning in. Make sure that if you have not subscribed yet, you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, make sure to leave a comment below. All right, catch you on the next one. As you can see right now, the water is completely white. That's because I just added the salt. And so I just wanted to kind of document this and show, that we have started the process finally after months and months of having this tank and then waiting for so long. But that's, typical me. I'm never really in a rush. I got plenty of other tanks that I need to take care of. And so excuse the mess, because I just noticed that I'm showing the mess here. But once this is running and once this is running, I will be doing a major cleanup in here and give y'all a proper video to show off the studio here at Queen City Reefs.